Hi. Hello. Welcome to live at Nattapadira. We'll just wait for people to join and take it from there. So, um, I hope this is going live and everything is audible and good. And hello, hi. Okay, so hello, Arvind sir. Hi. We'll just wait for a few people to join, and then we'll, get into the poetry, right? Hi. Hello, Siddharth. Yeah. Um, so, okay. Thank you. Um, so yeah, we did a sound check earlier. നമ്മൾ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു കവിതയൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞൊക്കെ നോക്കി. And yeah, we'll get into more of our poetry today. So Krishnendu, hi, welcome. So I just want to start off by thanking Humans of World. I think ഈ ലൈവ് at നട്ടപ്പാത എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ഇസ് വണ്ടർഫുൾ. എന്തായാലും ലോക്ക്ഡൗണും ക്വാറന്റീനും ഒക്കെ ആയിട്ട് വീട്ടിലിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരുപാട് പേർക്ക് അതർവൈസ് നമ്മൾ നേരിട്ട് കാണുകയും കലയും കവിതയും ഒക്കെ പങ്കിടുന്ന ആൾക്കാരാണ്. സോ അത് പറ്റാത്തൊരവസരത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ഇസ് ഗ്രേറ്റ്. സോ യാ റൈറ്റ്. സോ ഐ തിങ്ക് വിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് ഗെറ്റ് ഗോയിങ് വിത്ത് ദ ഇവന്റ്, റൈറ്റ്? സോ എൻ്റെ പേര് അക്ഷയ് എന്നാണ്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നൂടെയുള്ള മിക്കവർക്കും എന്നെ അറിയാം. ബട്ട് ഐ ഡു സ്പോക്കൺ വേർഡ് പോയിട്രി, റൈറ്റ്? സോ സ്പോക്കൺ വേർഡ് ഇസ് എ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് പെർഫോമൻസ് പോയിട്രി. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ കവിത എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിലേക്ക് വരുന്നത് എന്താണ്? ഒരു പേപ്പറിലോ ഒരു ബുക്കിലോ ഒക്കെ കാണുന്ന നമ്മൾ വായിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള കവിതകളാണ് ഓർമ്മ വരുന്നത്. ബട്ട് ദെൻ സ്പോക്കൺ വേർഡ് ഇസ് അബൌട്ട് പ്രസന്റിങ് ദാറ്റ് പോയം. ഇപ്പം നമ്മളുടേതായ പോയത്തെ മറ്റുള്ളവരായിട്ട് വോക്കലി ഓറലി ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ആർട്ട് ഫോമാണ്. ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് വെരി ക്ലോസ് കണക്ഷൻസ് ടു എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് അതർ ആർട്ട് ഫോംസ്. പോയിട്രി ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ്, പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഹിപ്പ് ഹോപ്പ്, റാപ്പ് മ്യൂസിക് ഒക്കെ ആയിട്ട് ഇതിന് ഭയങ്കര ബന്ധമുണ്ട്. അതേപോലെ ഈ സ്പോക്കൺ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കവിത അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പോയറ്റിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻ എല്ലാം ഈ ഒരു വെസ്റ്റ് ആഫ്രിക്കൻ അമേരിക്കൻ അവരുടെ കൾച്ചറിൽ നിന്നാണ് പോപ്പുലറായിട്ട് മാറിയത്. പണ്ട് തൊട്ടേ ഉണ്ട്, ബട്ട് ദെൻ സ്പോക്കൺ വേർഡ് ഇസ് എ വെരി റീസെൻറ്റ് ഫിനോമിനൻ. അപ്പോൾ കഥ പറയലാണ് മെയിൻ ഉദ്ദേശം, സ്റ്റോറി ടെല്ലിങ്. സോ നമ്മുടെ ഐ ജസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ഓഫ് വിത്ത് ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പോലെ പറയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഇതൊക്കെ. ഈ പറയുന്ന ഹിപ്പ് ഹോപ്പ് തന്നെ ആണെങ്കിലും റാപ്പ് മ്യൂസിക് തുടങ്ങുന്ന ഒരു സമയത്ത് തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ വെസ്റ്റ് ആഫ്രിക്കൻ കൾച്ചറുകളിൽ ഗ്രിയോട്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ട്രഡീഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പൊ ഗ്രിയോട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു തരം ഓരോ വില്ലേജിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഓരോ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയിലുള്ള ഒരു വ്യക്തിയാണ് ഈ ഗ്രിയോട്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഗ്രിയോട്ട്സ് വെർ ദ സ്റ്റോറി കീപ്പേഴ്സ്. ആ ഒരു സമൂഹത്തിന്റെ എല്ലാ കഥകളും സൂക്ഷിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരായിരുന്നു ഗ്രിയോട്ടുകൾ. അന്ന് അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ ട്രഡീഷൻസ്. ഹലോ രാഹുൽ ബ്രോ, ഹായ്. അപ്പോൾ അവരുടെ ട്രഡീഷൻസും അവരുടെ കഥകളും അവരുടെ ഹിസ്റ്ററിയും ഇതെല്ലാം ഓർത്ത് വെക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു അവരുടെ ഉദ്ദേശം. അതേപോലെ അത് എല്ലാവരിലേക്കും എത്തിക്കുക, കഥാരൂപത്തിലും മറ്റും പുതിയ ജനറേഷനിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു ഈ ഗ്രിയോട്ടുകളുടെ ഉദ്ദേശം. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു ഗ്രിയോട്ട് മരിക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു ലൈബ്രറി കത്തി നശിക്കുന്നതിന് തുല്യമാണെന്ന് പറയായിരുന്നു ആ സമയത്ത്. സോ ഹായ് അക്ഷര. Akshara doesn't know Malayalam. So I'm talking about a griot tradition in West Africa. And people used to say that a griot, a person who tells all these stories, dying is equal to a library burning down. So the spoken word comes from that tradition of telling stories, right? Storytelling എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിൽ നിന്നാണ് വരുന്നത്. So yeah, we'll get into a few things. ഞാൻ കവിത എഴുതാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു 3-4 വർഷമായി. And I do spoken word at events. നമുക്ക് ട്രിവാൻഡ്രത്ത് we have a spoken word community called Pens and Polaroids. And we have our events. കൊറോണയ്ക്ക് മുമ്പ് വരെ we used to do events, but then now it's very restricted. Anyway, and so what do you talk about? What do you write poetry about? Again, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഐ എം ആസ്കിങ് മൈ സെൽഫ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദ്യങ്ങളോ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പ്ലീസ് കമൻറ്റ്. അത് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് വാണ്ട് ടു ജസ്റ്റ് സിറ്റ് ഹിയർ ആൻഡ് സ്പീക്ക് അബൌട്ട് പോയിട്രി ഫോർ 30-40 minutes. നമുക്കൊരു കോൺവെർസേഷൻ ഡിസ്കഷനൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് പോവാം. സോ യാ I think we'll start off with the poem, and then we'll see where that takes us. I have 3-4 poems lined up, and we'll have a fun night of poetry. So if you want to talk about poetry, please comment below. Right. So this first poem, it's called Do You Remember? And I'm sure a lot of people are, my friends at least who are here, are familiar with it. This was my first, hi Samra. Yeah, we'll get to the question. But then the first, this was my first like actual poem or spoken word piece that I presented. So it's very close to my heart. And I think we'll get to the question after this poem. Okay, so do you remember? Do you remember how exactly a year ago, elsewhere on the globe, snow fell in love with earth and kissed those in between? Yet here, beneath the equator, earth laid loveless, but in good company nevertheless. Me, you, and the winter chill. Exactly a year ago, Christmas Eve was the one night you promised me that you'd never forget. Exactly a year later today, Christmas Eve. I'm not even sure if you remember me, but if you do, I have questions that yearn to be answered, because far from popular belief, I don't think the world ends in bangs or even whimpers, but in doubt, uncertainty, and unanswered questions. So riddle me this. Do you remember that night? Do you remember how you smelled of hyacinths and cigarette smoke, and I smelled of your favorite perfume? Do you remember how every time I pretended to be Santa, you'd laugh holding your tummy that I found adorable but you found quite horrible? Do you remember how the next day when you saw the email from Oyo Rooms asking, how was the experience, you gave me a smile, most mischievous, the perfect blend of naughty and nice? Do you remember how you confessed about not understanding anything that Mohammed Rafi sang about, and how I felt betrayed, so much so that I spent hours translating every Hindi song of that decade? Do you remember how you took off the black t-shirt you wore, the one you loved so much that you had 4, just to try on my Christmas gift? And how the winter night failed miserably to take the edge of the heat that you radiated? Do you remember how sloppy you swirled in your new dress and smiled, and somewhere in the world the painter missed a stroke, guitar strings broke, and here my heart broke? Do you remember how later that night when I took you in my arms, I asked you if your church counted this as sin? Do you remember how you pulled me even closer, looked me in the eyes and told me, as far as sins go, this was the best of the lot, and then promptly proceeded to kiss me on the lips, butterflies in my stomach doing damn backflips? Jesus Christ, Christmas made sense. Do you remember? Exactly a year later today, elsewhere on the globe, snow still falls, I'm sure, just a lot less. Those in between blame the climate and not themselves. Here, beneath the equator, earth still lays loveless, but so do I. But Christmas still makes sense. Do you remember? Because even if you don't, I do. Yeah, thank you. So that was Do You Remember? That was my first actual spoken word piece. By far not my favorite, we'll get to those later, but it's a good start, I think. So yeah, Samra asked a question. What made you start writing poetry and doing spoken word? So poetry was, I think, a very natural progression of my love for literature. Uh, Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah. So I was സ്കൂളിൽ പഠിക്കുന്ന ടൈം തൊട്ടേ I really loved books and you know um, just getting lost in these worlds. എഴുത്തിൻ്റെയും ലിറ്ററേച്ചറിൻ്റെയും സാഹിത്യത്തിൻ്റെയും ഒക്കെ എല്ലാത്തിൻ്റെയും കവിതകളുടെയും ഒക്കെ ലോകത്തിങ്ങനെ എന്താണ് I used to get lost. And then I decided this is what I want to do in life. അങ്ങനെ ലിറ്ററേച്ചറാണ് പഠിച്ചതും. സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടും വായനയുടെ കൂടെ എഴുത്തും ഇറ്റ് ഹാപ്പൻഡ് വെരി നാച്ചുറലി. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ I wrote a little more, and then I stumbled upon spoken word. I think നമ്മുടെ ഈ ടെക്നോളജി, I don't want to be a cliche, but then എന്താണ്, we are open to a lot of new art forms. നമ്മൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാണാൻ പറ്റില്ലാത്ത അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മിസ് ചെയ്തു പോയിരുന്ന ഒരുപാട് art forms, you get to see them, you get to understand them, you get to enjoy them. അങ്ങനെ so I came upon these videos on YouTube of people doing this, and I thought, okay, this is nice, and maybe I'd like to do this someday too. And then eventually I did. And I think I'd like to answer Akshara, because I think that's a very good segue to the next question. What inspired me to write this piece? Oh no. So again, this is I write about love a lot, not because of any particular reason. I think, okay, so compared to like normal poetry that you read, നമ്മൾ വായിക്കുന്ന poetry which is spoken word, the difference is you only get one chance, right? Like you can go back and read poetry, but with spoken word you just get to see or hear it one time. So you have to relate to the audience, whatever you're trying to say, right? Appo I think love is something that is very relatable for all of us. And you don't even have to have been in love. പ്രണയിക്കണം എന്നുള്ള നിർബന്ധങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ല. It's just you have to have certain feelings for maybe people, maybe things, plants, flowers, whatever. So I think it's a feeling that all of us can relate to, quote unquote. So that is why, that's how this poem came about. It's not about anything specific. It's some of these things are drawn from my life. Some is literature, fiction, if I may. So okay, so please share the link if you want anybody else to join in and listen to some more poetry. We can always accommodate more people, I guess. So that is how this piece was written. Now what do you guys want to do? Another poem, or do you want me to talk about something? I'm also an educator, recently started teaching English literature, so that's a huge step for me. So I know how it feels to take a 1 hour online class, I guess, but I don't want to do that today. I want you guys to be part of this too. ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിയാണ്. ഹൗസ് I think a beautiful community. We need more of these events and things that bring people together, and I think poetry too does that. So so does your students like literature? Some do. I'm not going to say everybody is a fan of literature, but I think എനിക്ക് വളരെ വേണ്ടപ്പെട്ട എൻ്റെ ഒരു സുഹൃത്തുണ്ട്, വില്യം വേർഡ്സ്വർത്ത്. അദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത് പോലെ, what we have loved, others will love, and we will show them how, which is something that I keep in mind when I'm teaching, that I am in love with literature and I want others to be too. So I'll either get them to or die trying. So there are people like who are really interested in literature. Like there are 12 people here. I think we are all interested in poetry, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So it's not 12 is not by any chance a small number. At night at 10 listening to English poetry is, I think, a huge step for some of us. Speaking to you guys, presenting all this is a big step for me at least, so I know how that feels. So yeah. Okay, so I think thank you, Devin, bro. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get to another poem. I think up next I have one of the poems I've presented the most at a lot of shows or events like these. It's conveniently titled "Not a Love Poem," and again, I think some of you might have heard this before. It's a pretty long poem, and it's not about love. That's what the title suggests, right? It is not a love poem. It is a poem about love. I think we'll talk about it afterwards. So if you're all ready, we'll get into the second poem. It's called "No, Not a Love Poem." Okay. All right. So I'll just adjust the audio just a little bit and make it a bit louder. Just okay. So this is called "Not a Love Poem." I've made it a habit when meeting people new to write down everything that I get to know about them. When I met Love many years ago, she came with her own single line classmate's notebook. Love handed me the book and told me, "I'll give you as many as you need, so write about me. But don't be like every other poet. Don't lie to yourself. Don't write me as you want me to be, and don't write me with the knowledge of past experience or future expectations. Be honest, please." So these are the truths Love told me, and every poet ever has lied about. Love. Love is in her 20s, but she acts like she's 12 and talks like she's 70. Love is not blind. Love sees everything and still doesn't care about your feelings. Love is a tough person to please. Love pretends to not like it when you say thank you or please, but secretly wishes you would. Love is the silent type, the "I don't think you like me" type, the "I wish people would take me for who I am" type. Love hates the type because it makes her fingers sweat. Love doesn't like long text messages or smileys. Love thinks long phone calls are a bit overrated, and Love hates Androids and iPhones alike. And Love hates pets because the fur gets everywhere and Love has OCD. In fact, the only one messy thing she can get done is wearing her hair in a bun. And Love is bipolar. Love listens to Eminem, Kishore Kumar, Hozier and Shabazz Amin one after the other exactly in that order, but Love doesn't sing along or nod her head to any of them because she is too scared she'll nod off and never wake back up again. Love reads Khalid Hosseini and cries. Love thinks Harry Potter is for children but has a crush on Draco Malfoy. Love is old school. Like old schools. The ventilation is really bad and it smells sometimes and it gets hard to breathe, like how Love makes you gasp for air. Love isn't all sunshine and daisies, but on the days she storms and rains, you can't take your eyes off of her. And Love doesn't have any answers, but Love will ask you if you're okay, and Love hates it when you fart. But Love will never tell you that because Love is shy, you see, and Love thinks you'll understand. But Love is like the government. Love just doesn't make sense sometimes. And Love wishes she could be unconditional. She does. But Love doesn't like the same things you like. And Love hates your mom. Love hasn't talked to her own mother in a week. Love has anxiety issues because Love was molested when she was 7. And again when she was 13. Love dreams of traveling alone but is too scared to go out at night or alone by bus or rickshaw or even walk. Love has tried to kill herself twice. Love cries in her room every other night. Love has 6 pillows and a comforter, but Love doesn't have anybody to talk to. Love is lonely, like her lips have been since the last time they've been kissed, and sad, like a smile since forever. Love is trapped in a room of walls plastered with Tinder profiles, and Love is scared of promises and commitment. Love cheats in relationships. Love hates Valentine's Day. Love has more regrets than happy memories. Love spends a night with strangers. Love has casual sex. Love forgets their names when morning comes, and Love doesn't stay for a final kiss. Love is an alcoholic. a fan of old monk and Dunhill cigarettes. Love just hates herself every time she gets high. Love blames everybody except herself for the pain that she feels. Love says she's okay, but she's not. Love can't stand her own reflection on the mirror in her bedroom wall. Love doesn't have friends because her friends always want more, and love doesn't have more to give. Love just hopes you'd understand. Love feels empty. Love isn't perfect, but love is trying her best. But love's best often falls short. Love wants to give up. Love wants to run away. Love might stay for a decade and then leave the next morning. Love is confused and clueless because love is unsure. Love doesn't have clarity and deals in vague necessity. Love is the most beautiful person I know, because you see, love is a bit of herself in everybody she knows. And love tells me she's me. And love tells me she's you. You see, love is that part of us that just wants to be loved. Thank you. So that is not a love poem. So this is about people, essentially, not about love. It's about the love that we feel for life and everybody in our, immediate surroundings, I guess. And again, I think the reason for writing this poem, I wrote this at a very bad time in my life. I was going through some stuff and I want to write something positive. I know it's not completely positive, but then it's about all the people, right? It's about people I've seen, people I've met, people I've talked to, maybe even for a day. But then I think that matters a lot. The people that you meet along the way, right? So yeah. Right. Any more questions or things that you want to talk about? Anything anything at all. I think we can have a very productive conversation if we want to. So yeah. And the background music that is playing is called it's what falling in love feels like. It's a very heartfelt piano music, like an imitation of a classic perhaps, but then it's, I think it fits the mood. Thank you, Rajat Bro and Devin Bro, thank you. Yeah, and it is very suitable for this kind of thank you. Yeah, it is suitable for this kind of mood, late night talking about poetry and all of that. So yeah, I think we'll maybe talk about poetry a bit more. I have one more piece that I want to share. I have more, but I feel like too much of a good thing, maybe I'm saying it myself. We love, hate, we love. By me. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, the love-hate relationship that we have with love. It's a difficult. We make fun of love because it's everywhere in popular culture. It's in our movies. Thank you, Aditya. And so it's everywhere, and we talk about it so often that we forget that it's hard to talk about it. We have all these stereotypes and cliches, but we never really sit down and talk about love. And I have like other pieces about things that are not about love, but I wanted this night to be about love. Being an artist, what's the most fascinating fact you've seen in people? Growth. I've actually thought about this, and I've talked to people about this. I think the ability of people to grow is fascinating. Yeah, like you meet people. Like we said, you meet people on the way. I've known people for years, right? And then we make such a big fuss of people changing, right? You maripoi. But then that's what we're supposed to do. we're supposed to grow, and we're supposed to change and learn new things and become better people. So I think to the ability of human beings to, I'm not saying that everybody changes, everybody does, most people get worse. Why choose English as the medium? So the okay, so my interest in literature started in middle school. So we had a very strict librarian who used to push books on us. You have to read this, and he always used to hand us like English books. For we were CBSE English medium ആയതുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കാം, we are always given English books. And at some point I just started listening to what she was saying and started reading, and that's how actually I fell in love with literature. And when I say literature, I think I fell in love with the language. I know it has all this baggage, colonial language, നമ്മുടെ oppressors-ന്റെ language, and I know all of that, and it does affect my writing a bit. But then, I think it's a very beautiful language, and I feel like I can express myself better in English. മലയാളം ഒരുപാട് വായിക്കും, പക്ഷെ മലയാളം അങ്ങനെ വായിക്കാറില്ല കൂടുതലും. the literature I read and the literature I've learned and what I'm teaching right now is all English. So I think I'm able to express myself better in that language. So yeah, thank you for the questions. You guys are wonderful, and yeah, keep them coming. If not, I think I'll read some small poems. And again, this is not exactly spoken word, it's just poetry. But then I think this could be a good segue to the last piece. And again, all of this is about people and love. Yeah, thank you for being part of this, Devin bro. Anyway, so yeah, this next piece is called Art of War. This is not a long one, this is a short one, and it's not exactly spoken word, so bear with me. It's just a poem that I wrote. If you had to choose between falling in love with one person over a lifetime or multiple people during your life, what will you choose? I think, okay, what we're going to do is everybody is going to answer this in the comments. 11 പേരുണ്ട്. At least I want 3 or 4 people to at least answer this. I'll also answer this. So I think I'll read this poem, and by the end I want you guys to answer. Okay, I know people here want to share. Okay, so better answer it in the comments. Very good question, thank you Adira. So we'll read this and get back to it. Okay, so this is called The Art of War. 1. Mother keeps politely asking my wounds to leave. Mental note: impatience can talk through grit teeth and still seem polite. You can't rush these things, Amma, but the reddish tinge painted over scraped skin reminds her of punching gloves, and she's on the verge of throwing hands. I grew up learning to recognize people who'd pick fights for me. 2. Wounds, an origin story. You can't push your heart off of a cliff. I have tried. Like a roller coaster, the pit of your stomach still sinks. It feels euphoric for all of 5 seconds, but you're still bound, tied down, secure, safety of the seat belt, fox free fall. Oh, but to levitate, till I limp against the wind, lose all contact and let safety disappear into the mist. You can't push your heart off a cliff. The heart must be taken by surprise. The fall is always an accident. 3. Hearts too tend to twist into abrupt metaphors and turn black and blue. Cardial ligaments strain and inflame, and when the stray lover tugs at the strings, pain thinks itself missed, visits your elaborate tissue mansion of rose quartz memories and cinnabar dreams, exchanges pleasantries, asks if the guest bedroom is free, doesn't wait for an answer, and stays the week. Too busy trash talking and battling my scars, mother never knew of the war that I kept losing to my heart. Yeah, thank you. So that is Art of War. Again, I know it's a bit hard to follow. It's a bit disconnected again because it's not spoken word. It's still poetry. It's about a lot of things among I think people close to us they know a lot about us, but they don't always see everything. And we shouldn't expect that of them. It's fine. Sometimes we have to fight our own battles. So yeah, that's what that poem is about. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you guys. Okay, we'll get back to Aditya's question. So nobody's going to answer. It's fine. I'll do it on my own. So yeah, if I had to choose between falling in love with one person over a lifetime, let me think of, or multiple people during your life, what will you choose? I think multiple people, because personally I have too much love to give, and I don't. I feel like it will be wasted in just one person. I'm just kidding. No, I think it's limiting ourselves, right? If you find that one person, sure, fine, you do your thing. But then I think, right? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I personally think that we have to split our affections. Like, you can't പിടിച്ചു വെക്കാനൊന്നും പറ്റത്തില്ലല്ലോ. And again, like I said, the fall is always an accident. You don't intend, okay, I am picking this person and giving everything to this person. I'll never love anybody else. That's just stupid. All of this is an accident, and it's all coincidence. So yeah, you find somebody, you fall in love, life happens. Find somebody else, you fall in love. Hopefully that keeps happening for the rest of our lives. And yeah, Siddharth agrees. He says multiple people. I agree too. And Rahul Bro said we keep choosing and hope for the best. Right? Yeah. I think I don't want to be too poetic, but I think nammada matram choice alla. I think these things happen, and we are just caught off guard most of the time. Most of the time we don't get to choose. So if we do get to choose, it's a great thing. Okay, so I think we are 30 minutes in. So I think we'll get to my last poem, and I think this is my favorite poem, that spoken word poem that I've ever written. It's, yeah, Samara says multiple people. It's beautiful how different people are getting to love and be loved by different people is a wonderful thing. Right, of course. Yeah, I agree. I think everybody here might agree to this, that it's different with each person. And I think if we are missing out if we don't open ourselves up to such experiences, meeting people, falling in love. And as my favorite songwriter singer Hosier said, I fall in love with someone different every day. So yeah, anyway, last poem. 11 people here. Thank you guys for coming. This is going to be the last piece. Again, this is my absolute favorite piece of work as far as spoken word is concerned, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. I think this is the first time I'm presenting this in public. I'm not really sure. Some of my friends know, but yeah, debut. Okay, so this is called, I don't know what this is called. It's called To the Girl I Might One Day Fall in Love With. To the girl I might one day fall in love with. Okay, that's also the first line of the poem. Okay, here we go. To the girl I might one day fall in love with, I am sorry. I don't think you know me. We might not have met yet, but by the time we do, I'll be so done with love that I probably wouldn't notice you if you walked over my eyelids and made me blink every time your heels clicked. I know you'll be more of a sneakerhead, but you'd wear heels if it meant it would make my rhymes stick, and I love that about you. I promise you, your first impression of me will be your worst. You'll hate how I'm full of myself, and how I'm always keeping your glass half full of myself, and when you drink me, it will burn like whiskey never did. And when you start getting tipsy, you'll hate how I make fun of you for acting like a kid. You'll hate how I pick my nose and pretend like I was rubbing an itch, or how I accidentally rub my hand against yours and pretend like I was rubbing an itch. You'll hate to realize I'm more than what you expected, more than my hair and my beard, more than my smiles and my tears, or the spectacles that I wear, because I'm technically blind to other people's feelings, and yet I'm just like every other guy you've met. Every other guy who told you they loved you but forgot. Every other guy who you've cheated on or you've done with a history I'd rather not share. You'll hate how it's unfair, how I put handcuffs on my pain, buy my nightmares in straitjackets and lock my past away in a wooden box where it's 6 feet beneath the earth. But don't worry, they will eventually go Harry Houdini and escape sensationally. No matter how hard I try, I just can't help but open up to the ones I love. So to the girl I might one day fall in love with, you'll eventually realize I was in love once before. Way before our paths crossed, I was stuck on a trajectory that was taking me straight to her. Like a trailer truck, hauling everything I ever owned on a highway, the rain pouring with no exits. It was all my fault. Losing traction on the wet asphalt, slowly slipping away from her until she wasn't there anymore, and I lost my way like a kid in the dark with no bed sheet to hide beneath and no flashlight to find her once more, or myself. The first time I take you home to meet my mom, I'll go back to being that kid, and in the darkness I'll still be looking for her. You might be my favorite guest, but she was home. So when I call you beautiful, know that you are the prettiest flower to ever bloom in my garden, but I built this garden for her. When I tell you that your smile is the best this world has to offer, know that her smile was out of this world. It was magic. No, science fiction, just like watching Inception. You had no idea what was going on. All you knew is that you had to see it again and again and again till you figured it out. I never could. And when I tell you that I love you with every breath that I take, know that she filled my lungs out. I used to hold my breath hoping she would never leave, and the blood cells that carried her to every inch of my body engraved her name onto the back walls of my veins. And no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to fix me. Your kisses won't heal my wounds. Your words won't ease my pain. Your eyes won't see that she was my only cure. So, to the girl I might one day fall in love with, I am sorry. I love you. I truly do. But when night falls, when darkness calls, I'll go back to being that kid. And the darkness, I'll still be looking for what I once lost. Thank you. Yeah, so that was my last piece. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vasuki. Thank you, Arun sir. Thank you, Joshua. Nice to see you here. Yeah. So yeah, that was to the girl I might one day fall in love with. So, any more final questions before we part for the night? Anything anybody wants to add? Things that you want to see going forward with Humans of World? Absolutely anything. If you want to say anything, if you want to say goodbyes to everyone here, I think I'd like to thank everybody who stayed with me, who watched, who've heard, who've commented, who've asked the questions, and just supported poetry. I think. Thank you everyone, and thank you Humans of World for organizing this platform for artists, and I think great things have to come going forward. So yeah, thanks everyone. I think we'll wind up for tonight. It's 10:40. I think we spent a good 40 minutes talking about poetry. Akshara says the first and last are my favorite. Thank you, Akshara. You guys are my favorite. Yeah, I'm going to stop now, or I'll ruin this. Yeah, thank you, Siddha. Thank you, Vasagi. Keep writing. I will for sure. And I hope again I've got at least some of you interested in poetry. If you weren't already and you want to continue reading or writing yourself, perhaps. So yeah, and thank you, Rahul bro. No, thank you guys for being here. All right. So peace. Good night. Bye.